Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Yolopark AMK Pro Series model kit slash sort of buildable figure unboxing and review. Today we're taking a look at Arcee based off her appearance in Transformers Rise of the Beasts. Now I got mine from Yolopark Direct as a review sample, and I've popped a link to their site in the description. But for full transparency, it is an affiliate link. Any commission earned will be reinvested back into the channel and put towards making new content. If you're heading down that way, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button so you're notified as soon as brand new Transformers content goes live. Look, I'm going to be totally honest, and I know it's cheeky me saying this, but the main reason why I got Arcee is actually not to pose her next to other Yolopark pieces. Instead, I'm going to use this Arcee with my 3-0 deluxe scale Transformers from Rise of the Beasts. I reckon they knew exactly what they were doing when they announced this. Scaling is almost perfect as far as I can tell, but we'll find out when we get stuck in. As for the box art, image of the figure herself up front, then her name at the bottom, and I think that's the end battle from the movie in the background. This video is brought to you by JustinsCollection.shop, the home of the figure first aid kit, as well as other accessories to help your collection be the best it can be. The first aid kit contains multiple tools to help you with maintenance, styling rooted hair, and much more. We also sell crotch grabbers, soft rubber tips to prevent damage, and they're compatible with most modern Hot Toys base molds. Acrylic risers come in multi-packs. They're optically clear, thick and sturdy, and stackable. Check out the link to JustinsCollection.shop in the description. On the side of the box, digging this green Autobot symbol with like the Aztec markings around it. Very on theme for the movie. We've got another shot of Arcee up top, one more down below with Optimus Prime, that's the AMK Pro Series one, behind her. Then around the back, warnings and legal information, couple of shots showcasing her light-up effects and her accessories, plus the build process. It looks a little bit simplified on the back of the box, but I would imagine it's a little bit more involved than that. Okay, Yolopark, y'all are cooking with the inner box artwork. This rainbow metallic foil print with this retro Arcee logo down below and the motorbike. It looks absolutely beautiful. If only I had space to display boxes, this one would absolutely be a candidate. I like that they don't hide this. They're very straightforward with where the diecast content is, how much of it there is, and they also tell you that you won't need any tools to put this together. Thank goodness. Significantly less parts than usual, so maybe that build process image on the back of the box was fairly accurate. Top tray, we've got most of the pieces, there's a second tray underneath, and I don't know if every Arcee is going to come with this, but there was a metal pin underneath the clam trays in the box. As usual, let's go through the build, then we can move on to Arcee's accessories. Step 1 in that process is to plug the wheels into her backpack. They are specific to each side. This one goes on the right, whereas the one that has a brake disc and caliper on it, that one goes on the left. For her back wings, you just need to install these bracket pieces, then you can connect these to the backpack by sliding these loops over the pegs that stick up on both sides. Make sure you get the orientation of this piece right. It's flat on one side, but there's a cutout on the other. That's to accommodate the backpack when you peg it in place. Now we can get the arms ready. It's the same process on both sides. Hand connected to the ball joint for the wrist peg. Then you can connect the shoulder joint to the bicep. With both arms assembled, now we can connect them to the body. Ball joints at the shoulders. It's kind of tricky to get these plugged in, but give them a solid push, they'll click in place. But now the legs. Big peg and little peg connecting this piece on the side. After that, the shin guard. It is die cast plugging into plastic. It's a nice snug fit. The legs are both built now, connecting them to the body, relatively straightforward. As with any good transformation / build sequence, the last step is to connect the head to the body. And with Arcee built, what we're going to do now is get all of her accessories out here and take a closer look at everything she comes with. Starting off with her display base first. If you've picked up any of the other Yolopark AMK Pro Series figures, then this should be a pretty familiar sight to you at this point because they all come with this exact same style of base. I like that It's relatively flat, it's chock full of detail, and they switch up the faction symbol up front depending on the character you're getting, but I don't know, it just feels a little bit big for Arcee. Then again, she's got some diecast content, and you might want to pose her in mid-air on the flight pole. Maybe the base needed to be the size that it is. Now, the Autobot symbol is removable, and there's a magnet on the back of it. You actually use this to activate the light-up effect for her eyes, and we'll go through that a little bit later. Seeing as though she doesn't interact with much in the movie, she also doesn't come with a ton of stuff. Not complaining, just something to be aware of. Blasters, sculpt work is sharp throughout. We've got some silver up front for the barrels, red on either side, and they're covered in this shiny gunmetal. At first glance, these faceplates, they look the same, yeah? Same expression, same shape for the eyes, both sets of eyes are painted. I like that in case you don't have the LEDs turned on, but they're not the same. There's one little difference right there in front of the pink bits on her cheeks. For the left faceplate, there's some extra sculpt work versus the one on the right. It's just all smooth. I'm kind of tempted to display her with the G1 style movie visor. It's pink translucent plastic. It'll add some more pink to her otherwise very white head sculpt. And it's clear enough so that you can still see the LEDs behind it if you've got the lights for her eyes turned on. Autobot symbols up top for both head crests, and of course, we'll try them both out. And lastly, a full array of hands, including 2 closed fists. I dig the black wash on the inside of these sculpted rectangles and the glossy red paint. The differences are so minor between the open palm hands. These ones have the fingers curled in a bit, whereas with these ones, the fingers are a lot flatter. There's a decent amount of sculpt work on these, for as small as they are. What we're going to do now is get Arcee herself out here. Standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. For now, we'll do some sick posing, we'll bust out the dynamic moving camera towards the end of the video. Stay tuned, I promise it will be worth your while to stick around. But Yolopark, y'all have done it once again. The proportions, the paint applications, but it's not just that, it's the mix of finishes. We've got metallics with this really nice flake to them, we've got solid colors, we've got pearlescent paints, and it all just works together beautifully. This looks like the CGI model for Arcee rotating around in front of me right now. Yes, there's some inaccuracies, we need to talk about them. Well, really only one inaccuracy, but still, it's worth addressing, and we will do that off the turntable. But at this very moment, I have very few things to complain about just looking at this piece. Up close and personal, kicking things off with Arcee's head sculpt. Given the size of it, like compared to my thumb even, it's a very impressive sculpt. There's heaps of detail for the neck area, it's painted in gunmetal. The head itself is nice and shiny, there's pops of pink and blue and gunmetal and orange as well. There's also a light up effect. To access it, it's very straightforward. Grab the Autobot symbol from the display base, hover it in front of the head sculpt, the eyes turn on. There's 3 modes, the light up effect, just on, then flashing, then like a pulsing breathing one. I prefer them just on, but even if you don't have the lights turned on for her eyes, they're painted in this very vibrant blue, so they look illuminated, even with the LEDs turned off. They're better with the lights on, of course, but she's totally displayable like this. Okay, she looks so much cooler with the visor on. Let me know what you think down in the comments, visor or no visor. At this very moment, I'm probably just going to keep it on there when she's in the display. But for now, let's go with the clean look. Around the back, we've got tires, real rotating wheels, of course, and there's different detail from left to right. We discussed that in the build section. These wings are articulated, you can move them around, and you can also swivel them forward and back. The joints are a little stiff, the entire backpack tends to want to come off, so maybe just hold it in place, then you can move them. All of the exposed car bits. Beautiful to look at. That would be the radiator for the Ducati she transforms into, the pistons, the springs, that little grille detail right there. It looks like there's so much more mechanical stuff just packed in behind this chest plate. There's even the little translucent plastic windshield up front. And some subtle weathering. It's not crazy, they didn't go too heavy with it. Just some light silver and gunmetal chipping dotted around the place. Something about seeing gold and yellow thrown in the mix. It's a color that you wouldn't expect to see on RC, but it does help break up the red, white, and pink color scheme. Now, technically speaking, this should say Ducati, and it should be more around the front here on her thigh plate, but if I was Yolopark, I wouldn't want to pay the Ducati licensing either, because she doesn't transform into one, so why would you do that? I'm totally fine with them printing RC on this thigh panel. Seriously, like, the more you look at this, the more detail you'll discover, even hidden underneath certain parts and pieces. More detail reveals itself as you articulate her. And she's so sleek. This looks like the CGI model from the movie in my hands. I'm extremely impressed with the proportions and the detail work and the paint applications. There's a metal flake to the red, but then the pink is more of a flat color. Same thing with the white, and then all of the chipping and battle damage over the top. She slims down a lot towards her feet, but she's surprisingly stable because there is some die cast in the feet themselves. Now, this is pretty neat. I wasn't expecting it, but you can remove the wheels from her backpack. You can just wiggle them out. It's a little bit tricky to do it on camera, but once you've done that, flip them round, then you can plug them into these exposed pegs on the back of her feet. Once you've got everything connected, now she's got the wheels on her ankles. It's not a fully accurate look from the movie, but if you prefer them down here versus on her backpack, totally doable. But I personally don't. I like them on the backpack. You can see them up over her shoulders versus being down here, kind of in line with the legs. They're a little bit more hidden. Let's install her arm blasters because I want to see what that looks like. There is a correct and an incorrect way to install these. So first of all, the spikes go at the bottom. Then this gunmetal part goes on the outside, whereas those slots, they are supposed to go on the inside. The instructions mention it as well, but just in case you missed it, this is the correct way to install them. In my display, visor is going to be on, and both arm blasters. Now I've just got one installed for some asymmetry. The more I look at this piece, the more I'm starting to fall in love with it. Everything about this design for RC just works for me. It's the right amount of G1, it's the right amount of Bayverse, just all in one die-cast, extremely well-painted package. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked with how good this thing is. To remove the arm blasters, they plug in on the ball joints for her wrist pegs, then popping the hands back on, easy as, like I said, just ball joints. For a quick side-by-side comparison, RC on the left, Mirage on the right, both by Yolopark, both part of their AMK Pro series. But I can see what y'all are doing, Yolopark. The scaling isn't quite there, now is it? Like, if this was a true AMK Pro scaled RC, she'd be a lot smaller, because in the movie she's listed as anywhere between 8 to 10 feet. She should come up to around Mirage's waist. So they've overscaled RC or they've underscaled Mirage. Either way, doesn't bother me at all for one very specific reason. And that is this. Look at the scaling. That's a DLX scaled RC. Like, next to 3.0's DLX Mirage, this is perfect. This is exactly what I wanted. I understand this is a very niche, specific use case that could even be very specific to me because not everyone collects 3.0's Transformers, but I see it as an absolute win. At least if you've got only Yolopark AMK Pro Series figures, now you know how she scales next to them. And then the big boss bot himself, Rise of the Beast, Optimus Prime, towering over RC, but once again, this scaling looks accurate. AMK Pro Rise of the Beast Optimus is quite a lot shorter than 3.0's, and the scaling wouldn't be correct. So Yolopark, thank you for doing this. Now we've got a high quality, well-engineered, beautifully painted RC that works sort of with your AMK Pro figures, but a lot better with DLX ones. And lastly, this is probably one of the most important comparisons that we can do here. 3.0's DLX scale RC from the opening scene of the Bumblebee movie, very G1 movie inspired. And I love that about her. But I don't know, something about the Earth mode look on the left. I've already said it, but it's a very nice blend of G1 movie and also modern and Bayverse at the same time. Yes, the scale looks off because Arcee is now a lot shorter than herself from the last time we saw her on the big screen, but checking the scale charts, apparently this is accurate. So yeah, she did shrink somehow between movies. Going over articulation, starting off with Arcee's head sculpt. Ball joint at the base of the neck. The head and neck, they're just one thing. So looking forward to there, looking up to there, that is more range than I expected given the setup. Swivel, and plenty of pivot side to side. Shoulder pads are articulated, allowing the arms to go up to there. Forward is fine, but back collides with the backpack as to be expected. Butterfly joint that also hinges up and down. Swivel at the bicep, it's a very stiff joint on my copy. Double bend at the elbow, then for the wrist peg, it's a ball joint. I love stuff like this. Spring-loaded ab section for more range crunching forward, going back, less than forward. Swivel and pivot side to side, both at the midsection and the waist. Legs are on drop downs, dropping down quite far, actually. The legs themselves will go forward to there. You can rotate them for a bit more range if you need it. Going out to there, swivel at the upper thigh. Double bend at the knee, going the full way. Then a series of joints at the ankles, good for forward and back, rotation, pretty much infinite ankle tilt, and we've got a toe joint. Wrapping up on Yolopark's AMK Pro Series RC that also sort of works in the DLX 30 Transformers lineup. Oh my goodness, is this thing great. The articulation, the die-cast content, the paint applications, the light-up effects, the accuracy to the on-screen model. I don't think it gets much better than this. I highly doubt any other company is going to nail this design the same way Yolopark has. And there's modularity with the wheels, and you can light up her eyes with multiple different modes. We've got the visor. What more could you want? Like, yes, a transforming version of RC would be great, but only Hasbro and Takara Tomy can make transforming Transformers. And in this instance, due to the spindly design of RC, I think adding a transformation gimmick into this would make her worse, not better, because there'd be so much more kibble to manage. I don't know how the transformation would even work to turn her into a motorbike while still maintaining the very sleek, slim proportions. So at the end of this, if you're collecting non-transforming Transformers from Yolopark or 3.0, this is a must-have. Now, I got mine as a review sample direct from Yolopark themselves. I've popped an affiliate link to their site in the description. Any commission earned will be reinvested back into the channel and put towards making new content. If you're heading down that way, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next video.